Welcome to this model. My name is Hermosillo and I will be sharing the case of EcoZonas en la Metalera in Hermosillo, Mexico, implemented by the organization Hermosillo Como Vamos. In this model, I will share about the participatory process, particularly how the community worked together to identify challenges, co-design solutions, and implement actions that improve the quality of life of the residents and are still having a positive impact in the neighborhood. We will look at how the EcoZonas tools supported the process and share more through an example of a concrete intervention. La Metalera is located in Hermosillo, in northern Mexico. It is one of the hottest cities in the country, with summer peaks above 48 degrees Celsius. Urban challenges are significant, therefore. Around 70% of the trips are made by private car, and infrastructure for pedestrians and cyclists are very limited. Like other informal settlements, La Metalera is highly exposed to climate risk due to a lack of basic services and infrastructure. In the whole area, only 4 blocks are fully paved and more than half have no sidewalks at all. Residents face daily risks from unsafe crossing, unpaved streets, and undefined walking spaces. The main access to the neighborhood intersects with the train rail, which blocks entry and exit to the area. Public transport is limited to 2 main bus stops, both lacking of infrastructure and overexposed to traffic, and therefore are not accessible or safe, especially for children, the elderly, and people with disabilities. The process began with the identification of main problems, a neighborhood survey, and community mapping using the EcoZonas app. We then introduced a catalog of sustainable urban solutions to inspire ideas, and collaboratively we conducted and facilitated the decision-making process, where residents prioritized issues and selected solutions. Then the community co-designed interventions and planned for their implementation. Finally, all ideas were included in the neighborhood's climate action plan that is now residents' tool for future improvements. A key strategy to implement the EcoZonas approach was building trust with the community. We worked closely with women leaders in the neighborhood who helped maintain engagement, to keep residents informed at every step, and to ensure the process was truly participatory. Without them, none of this would have been possible. A key step for using the EcoZonas toolbox was first to plan how to apply it. For this, we planned the mapping exercise jointly with the residents. With their input, we identified the main issues like dangerous crossings, flood-prone streets, areas with or without shade, mobility barriers, and vacant lots. Then we designed 5 routes to cover main avenues, alleyways, public spaces, and schools. Residents co-identified critical points and groups were organized to ensure gender balance and the inclusion of the youth, elders, and people with disability through the process. Then, in guided walks, the residents, with the support of the members of our team, conducted the mappings. They collected more than 140 points. Around 100 of them were for sidewalks and crosswalking issues, and almost 50 of them for proposing potential bus stops and cycling infrastructure. The exercise using the app for mapping allowed the neighbors to look differently at the streets they use every day, imagining what could change and registering their thoughts. Women and youth in particular contributed to new perspectives that might otherwise have been overlooked. The mapping and survey revealed major challenges. Sidewalks were incomplete or unsafe. 78% of the residents rated them as being in a poor condition. Public transport stops were too far apart and had no infrastructure like benches or roof for shadows. There were no bike lanes, bike racks, or safe pedestrian crossing. A high-speed intersection and the unsafe train crossing were identified as conflict zones. Based on the data collected, we started conducting the implementation process by introducing sustainable urban solutions and facilitating the community decision-making exercise. Together, the neighbors identified and prioritized the sustainable urban solutions they wanted to implement, based on the cost-benefit, the level of involvement it required from them, and the neighborhood needs. Integrating all their ideas the neighbors decided on the implementation of 5 main actions that included micro-basin gardens, vegetation planting, murals, and building needed sky for shading the park. They co-designed together how it would look like, the colors they wanted to see, the materials, and the tasks they would be making during the implementation process. Earning ownership, they validated together again their co-design and agree on working plan for implementation. And of course, work together to achieve it. Owning the actions and also recruiting more and more volunteers to achieve what they have envisioned. All the data collected and the prioritization of the actions and needs presented by the community through all the whole mapping process allowed the team to map out hotspots and ideal points of interventions that were later integrated in the climate action plan of the neighbors. This way, the neighbors got the tool of the action plan, but also got to see the physical interventions, encouraging them to keep working together and reminds them what they have achieved. Among the solutions identified, one intervention related to road safety stood out: the transformation of an alley. Before, this alley was an unsafe passage, full of trash, had uneven ground, lacked proper pavement, and it was dark and poorly lit. People tend to fall and stumble when walking, especially elderly, and it was considered very dangerous. Yet, it was the fastest and most used connection between home, the park, and the main bus stops. Through the co-design process, the community decided to clean the paved alley, add drainage and green elements, mark the crossings as a symbolic entrance to the park, and improve the lighting. The alleyway was implemented with an active community participation. Now it is a flat, safe, walkable surface, a clear getaway into the park, a safer, well-lighted, shorter route to the bus stops, and a space with improved safety and dignity for daily mobility. Residents, especially women and older adults, report feeling safer. Children use it to reach out the park, and the park itself has become more accessible and widely used. The EcoZone toolbox then proved to be essential in this process, and of course a big step into moving from data to action. The mobile app and dashboard made invisible problems visible, while community participation ensured ownership of the solutions. The alley shows that small-scale co-design interventions can have a big impact, improving safety, accessibility, quality of life, and most importantly, the process is very easily and capable of being replicated in other neighborhoods, offering a pathway to more inclusive and resilient cities.